Hello, welcome to the Redeye stream. It is 3:06 on the west coast here in the beautiful Cascade Mountains. It is 6:06 over on the east. Nobody gives a fuck about Great Britain. Nobody gives a fuck about France. Hey, we are back once again with the Redeye stream. We're gonna listen to a little bit of music and we're gonna talk some shit and we're gonna see if we're gonna get banned again. Last night was a close one, guys, but it looks like we are up and rolling again. So we'll see how this goes. This is a YouTube cipher. This is a production put out by other YouTubers. I would hope that they wouldn't ban me. Hey, don't throw the flag, fucking cunts. All right, let's see what's going on.
They gone up on the track because I murder the raps. Well, yo, quick homie, just know that I got your back. Even if I gotta be a lyrical bully to death. Just give me the orders, run up and kick your door and hit him with 50 mortars, freaking mortars, kill him and leave the corpses under the people's doorsteps into the morgue with venom, and then I get morbid, evil and morbid. I'm in a torture, even the organs out of the orifice, but all they Porsches gotta be Porskins. And that ain't like, whoa, how the fuck he spit and just murder so many flows? I don't know, I was bred for this shit since 96, making hits since an embryo. I've been the dog, I can do blibbity, hibbity, and you're in the vicinity, cooking up, it's like I'm breaking my walls on my chest, we're making amphetamines, just getting messy, I'm gonna be killing. And the enemy never see any serenity, but it be mentally heavily off of the Hennessy, sipping the liquor, I lick it, don't think it, he spit in my living, I kick him with a little bit of venom, and I'm living, but I gotta get it for the bottom, for the motherfucker, got it for the metal, and I had it for the metal, in retrospect, I really should check my stress, but I'm never gonna second guess, this shit is over, I won, this beat is OJ's wife by the time that I'm done. Nonsense.
Okay. First off, what's up, MC? How are you doing? And we won't just be sitting here doing music. We'll talk about politics because that's what you want to talk about, right?
Oh, I just wanted to do a stream.
Well, I mean, first off, though, yeah, man, we ended up getting hit with a copyright strike last night in the middle of the show, and it straight fucking murdered the stream. So that was interesting. Considering I don't have a strike on my channel, also, it's really interesting.
Where did the strike come from?
The creators of Rick and Morty, of all people. Kind of weird.
And what was their claim?
Well, that's the thing. I actually didn't end up getting an email from them. I'm guessing it was copyrighted content, but the weird thing is, the video that we were sharing is actually a transcript from the state of Georgia versus Allen, or Charles Allen, or whatever the fuck his name was. Stupid psycho guy. But it was a real transcript. Like, this really happened in court. So it's really weird that they would claim it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're trying to claim there. That's interesting. But it figures.
And I noticed that.
You're famous?
What? Shut up, Hag.
Aww, are you trying to be bollocks now? You're not that famous.
Oh. There's a tear in my beer that I cried for you, dear. No.
I'm not your wife, honey.
Thank fucking God. I would have murdered you already. I mean, what?
Oh,
Sherardi,
is that how you really
doing? How have you gotten such a bad reputation recently?
I haven't been around and he's missed me immensely.
Did I say I missed her? I don't remember this. Temma's in the chat. What's going on, Temma? Tiger Lily's up in there. What's up, TM Ryder?
I missed you.
Of course, you missed Temma, but, you know, I'm chopped liver over here. Yeah, fuck you. You know?
Isn't that what your wife's for? Not me, honey.
I'm not gonna comment. You got.
Okay.
MC, you need to learn how to language.
I need to learn how to language. You just didn't like my misspelling, and yes, it was bad grammar or poor grammar. I'm sorry.
Wait,
Exactly.
you don't know how to do the whole English thing?
I used your
spelled
and
your.
Y-O-U-R instead of
Y-O-U-R.
Y-O-U-R-E. And she got the grammar Nazi had to lecture me. Publicly, I might add.
I can just see her going full fucking Hitler on you. Da!
What was amusing is that I uploaded that also to BitChute, and when I did it to BitChute, I actually noticed it and changed it, fixed it. I was like, it's wrong on YouTube. What the hell? So the grammar Nazi had to come in there, and she had to correct me.
I have corrected people's comments in your chat.
You have too much time. Well, no, and she has too much time on her fucking hands. I mean, what the fuck?
Well, since the Borg Gimplax, she does things so much faster now.
Oh shit!
I can almost keep up with Bollocks.
Well, Bollocks is an evil bastard. That's just the way it is. But let's.
Bollocks is fun. You just can't keep up with him.
Yeah, check. Okay, the SoundCloud superhero back again. I train hard, so when I'm on the track, I'm overlapping them. I'm lighting up a sack, the holy pack, my only sacrament. No California, though. I took the it's on my back again. Ugh, they probably don't get it. I'ma hit them with a chrome minute. Semi-automatic flow, I gotta get it, though. I'm kicking in the toe with it like, oh shit, it's the dope kid with the flow sick. Oh no, sis, and the beat frank, no ocean. Got the weed dank and a potion. When the fleet flame, feeling focused on my feet, fight from bullshit. And I speak fire.
And what are we listening
to? And I'm not nice, I'm like I got.
Okay. Actually, I do want to talk to you, MC. You don't like rap. Why? You don't like wordplay?
Wordplay's boring.
You just went on for like 5 minutes on grammar Nazis, and wordplay is boring.
Okay, I can discuss these issues, but how is that music?
And not all rap is wordplay.
Enlighten me then.
Some rap,
because
if you actually listen to it, is nothing but, oh, she's got big tits and a big fat ass, blah, blah, blah. Or they're talking about going to jail or shooting shit out.
Yeah, but Shorty, that's garbage. You know what I mean? That's garbage. So we throw that out because that's where garbage goes, in the fucking dumpster. That's garbage. Kind of like, pop music. Yeah, there's a lot of NSYNC and fucking fag Street Boys. Okay, there's also Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? You keep the good and you throw out the bad.
Okay, show me the good.
Tupac.
No.
Eminem. No. Okay, you're gonna stop me at Tupac of all places.
I'll stop you at either one of them. If you want to talk about these guys, that's fine. They come up with ridiculous lyrics about how they're so angst ridden. All right, and all they do is talk about all their. Oh, my life was so freaking hard. Oh, poor boo-hoo me. I'm gonna fight the power. And in reality, what did they do? They're flim-flams. Anybody can write this crap. Anybody. Now, when you talk about Mathers, all right, there's a talent to mix it with different beats and stuff, and I will admit to that. Okay, but the idea that this edgy wordplay is just so phenomenal. We're so much different than our previous generations. It makes us edgy boys. No. It makes me think that you're an uneducated boob who thinks that they're already better than everybody else. That their shit doesn't stink. okay, that their worldview should be listened to because, oh, woe is me. How about roll up your freaking sleeves and get to work? How about pick yourself up off the ground instead of bitching and complaining about everyone else around you? That's what rap has been.
What part about them making music and getting themselves out of the quote unquote ghetto isn't picking themselves up by the bootstraps?
They're not. They're taking advantage of the situations, telling other people to stay where they're at while they step on them to quote unquote get out, and then try and claim I'm 100%. I'm 100%. I'm keeping it real.
Okay. Tiger Lily in the chat. MC keeping it real, dog. Okay, that's awesome. I had to read that off. Tema, it sounds like you have an opinion. The link is in Discord. Join us. Because no, I don't understand where exactly them doing a form of art and producing something that the masses do want.
All I think about is the people who sit up there and put crucifix in a piss, Christ in piss, and then I think about the basketballs in a what was that? A fish tank? Yeah, that's art.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, how are they not picking themselves up by the bootstraps? They're doing something that the public obviously has a appetite for, and they are making money out of it. What is not capitalistic about that?
It didn't say it wasn't capitalistic. You said, why don't I like rap music? This is why. It's not lifting anybody up. It's not helping people achieve anything. Okay, it's not a form of music, all right, that's out there for enjoyment. It's there to just respond to angst and to increase social angst, and it does. Congratulations.
Okay. I would like to pose this question then. Why is rap any different from stand-up comedy then? Because they're both doing the same thing, are they not?
To a point, yeah. In some cases, not all comedy does this is like rap. Is it?
No, it's not. But you do understand what I'm saying, right? You're pointing out a position that isn't necessarily the popular belief, and you're making fun of yourself.
Okay, different. Comedians aren't glorifying that aspect of themselves. If you let's go back and talk about one of my favorite comedians, right? Don Rickles. Okay, he's not glorifying, all right, the stereotypes that were part of American society when he was talking about with some of his comedy routines, some of his shticks. If you ever listen to it, he would be banned today. All right, they would be absolutely horrified with some of the shticks. So that, the comments about his wife and the fact that he's Jewish and that his wife has just recently drowned in the pool because she had her necklaces on and she couldn't get out of the bottom of the pool. Right. The comment when he said that there was a fire that was started and the Jews are going, more wood as it burned down while the black people are like, they're going to blame us for this. Right. I mean, if you listen to his, what he's saying, he is pointing out the disparities within the nation. When you listen to rap, they're not pointing out disparities. They're freaking glorified. Look at me. I'm a badass. And that's what they're going for. Look at me. I'm the one who should be terrifying other people. I'm the one that you should be looking to. I sit up there and hit that hoe. I sit up there and shot that guy.
MC, since I'm not, over 90, could you tell me who Don Rickles is?
Shut the fuck up! You don't know who Don Rickles is. Come on.
Yeah, can't get no respect.
That's not Don Rickles. That's Rodney Dangerfield.
I know that's Rodney Dangerfield. I was trying to confuse nerd, but you guys ruined it. Fuck off.
I know who those people are, old boy. I was taking the piss out of MC.
Well, yeah, I mean, Don Rickles' jokes are older than Jesus, but it's okay.
And they're still fucking funny. Okay.
The big change with comedians, all right, came about when certain individuals in a lot of the southern states created the blue laws, right? And the blue laws included, if you were going to do some kind of comedy skit, that you couldn't use foul language.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's when there was this big push to go in that direction. The Lenny Bruces and everything. All right, that were trying to make social commentary. All right, with their comedy, their acts. All right, and doing it as a protest for this stuff. But it gets old when you see it time and time again. That's why some of these guys are just flash in the pans. That's why some of the guys, like Andrew Dice Clay, okay, he was a flash in the pan. Why? Because he had only one shtick, and he couldn't get around it. It was just him being lewd.
Yeah, because the actual guy that plays the character of Andrew Dice Clay, he's a comic. But he does a lot of like Jewish jokes because he's actually, his last name's like Goldstein or something like that, or Goldberg or something. He's like incredibly fucking Jewish. He's not like, hey, I'm an Italian New Yorker. No, he's fucking. Yeah, the rest of his comedy is less funny than Lewis Black.
Well, actually, I kind of want to talk about comedy now. You guys sucked me into it. I want to talk about comedy.
Well, you don't want me to talk to you about rap.
Okay, so when it comes to comedy, let's look at the milquetoast people. You have your Jerry Seinfelds. You have these people who are just, yeah, like, what about keys? Am I right? You know what I mean? But then you have the good comedians, and you have the fucking well, okay, so like, what's his name? Patton Oswalt was good back in the day. You had what was that dude? Dennis Leary. He was pretty good. You had people like fucking
Dennis Leary's still good now.
Is he? I
He
mean,
just doesn't do comedy anymore because it's gotten dangerous.
True. I think he was the one that was doing the Insomniac tour, wasn't he?
Yeah, Christopher Titus is the one that used to be funny and now is just totally completely retarded.
Yeah, no, and then you have the ones like, the late great fucking, yeah, I don't even want to bring him up. You know who I'm talking about.
No.
Yeah, you do. The one that did Aladdin. And I don't even want to bring him up because
Different type of comedian.
he was so good, but he was good because he was tortured, right?
Okay, but there was a time when he wasn't very good, though. There towards the end, the last like 2 decades or 15 years or so of his stand-up, it was vitriolic.
Yeah, his stand-up had flashes because his shtick was frenetic. That was the way he did it. His is very hard because you have to have a special personality to do that kind of frenetic type of movement, always movement, back, and repeat, right?
Yeah, almost like George Carlin, right? Where he's a white guy, but dude, he could have been a rapper. You know what I mean? Have you heard George Carlin?
But that has nothing to do with rap.
Okay, that's because he's a thespian. Or was a thespian. You learn how to speak rhythmically because it's part of being a proper thespian. That's not rap.
Lily in the chat.
Well, what do you mean? The spoken word isn't the spoken word the definition of rap?
No, it is not. The spoken word is written without music.
Go ahead, ladies. Take me to task. Go for it.
Well, no. It's just the spoken word is meant to be done without music. It's meant to be speech on its own, like slam poetry and stuff. That's all spoken word. When you're using just, I totally lost my train of thought. Never mind. Children. And she said Robin Williams wasn't good at any point. Did you hear the weird chatter, Allahu Akbar, go kill Bush weird fucking shtick he did back in what, 2001 or some shit like that, Amanda?
There were, but not all. I mean, comedians have times where they're better at in certain regards versus another regard. The problem, of course, that Robin Williams had was because of his style. All right, it required a tremendous amount of energy and constant movement. The problem is when you get old, that is harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
Okay, it's harder and harder to keep that pace. It's harder and harder to get into that mode. And what I think became for him tortured was the fact that everybody expected that of him all the damn time. And it comes to a point where, oh my God, is this all I am? And you start questioning yourself.
Well, he died of dementia. That's what led him to the suicide. He had dementia. Bob Wade has been incredibly vociferous about this everywhere he can be.
I don't believe he committed suicide. I just, maybe it's just because I like Robin Williams so much. You know what I mean?
He committed suicide. He was out of his mind.
Epstein himself?
And I don't want to think that he would take the coward's way out.
Really?
I don't want to think
is
that.
Is it the coward's way out when your mind is collapsing and you can't tell the difference between reality and fantasy anymore, and you can't even figure out what fucking year you're in? It's a coward's way out to do that, to not torture your family with watching you go into insanity and not know who they are.
I understand what you're saying, Tema. I get it, and you're not wrong. Maybe it's my Catholic upbringing. Suicide is the coward's way out.
But it's not.
Well, it's not always, no. There are. I mean, the Catholic view of suicide is, very drastic, but it was created. That mindset was created for something from the ancient times.
Because I was going to say, they boy sure are ignoring the conversation Jesus had with God while he was praying and sweating blood. Because he knew he was walking to his death. I don't know how else to call that anything but voluntary, like killing oneself. It's suicide by somebody else's hand.
Allowing yourself to be killed versus somebody taking your own life are two different things. I do see a distinction there, Emma, but I do understand what you're trying to point out. In the case of Robin Williams, though, when somebody is out of their mind, literally, when they're crazy, it isn't a coward's way out. They're insane. They have you have a mental breakdown. They're not trying to be a coward. I mean, they who knows what? There are probably as many reasons that people have committed suicide in the past as there are frickin' stars in the sky or sands on the beach, right? Is one of them probably being a coward? Yeah, probably. But at the same time, it is what it is. Okay, it's unfortunate. It's sad. Okay, Did Robin Williams do that? Probably. Was he thinking along those lines? None of us know. None of us know what was going through his mind, or even if we could comprehend it, because he was mentally not all there anymore.
You guys are absolutely right, and my stance is suicide is the coward's way out. That's the way I was raised, and that's my stance. If you believe I'm wrong, then you believe I'm wrong. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get it.
Well, I mean, there comes a point of you're not. I'm not saying. Everyone wants to sit there and put themselves in somebody else's shoes. That's one of the old saws is, walk a mile in somebody's moccasins or somebody's sandals, however you want to look at it. The problem with that viewpoint is you can't do it. You're not. in their same shoes. You don't have the same chemicals going on in your brain. You don't have the same forces internally or externally, all right, to know what was going on. So to say that it's a coward's way out, I'm not willing to go that far.
I would say that it's desperation. You know, people get to a point where living is no longer worth it. You know, if you say there's a lot of men who kill themselves because their ex-wives take their children, they'll never be able to see them again. You know, they can't live with not seeing their children, so they'd rather not be here. You know, it's not a coward's way out. I used to think the same way you did, Maud, and I've known a couple of people who have committed suicide. At times went through a dark patch myself. So it's desperation. It's when you get to a point where you can no longer see anything to live for. You know, you have nothing left. So it's desperation.
Do you think that when it comes to comedians and artists themselves, because you look at authors, right? They're usually drunks. Seriously. Like that's a thing. You know what I mean? Is it because to be artistic, to conversate with the muse, you need to be a little desperate. You need to be a tortured soul. Do you think that's a thing? Or no?
I think
Michelangelo grew up with a charmed life. How the fuck?
Yeah, and I would also say that it can work for some people. Some people do grow up like that, but the truth is, like, there's the majority of writers, you know, especially the ones you've never heard of, aren't drunks. Aren't, you know, I mean, look at Robin Williams. You look back at his early life, he done more cocaine than a small country.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go through something like that and not have it change some biology or physiologically in your body. You can't do that to yourself and have no changes to you. So he went through that. He got clean. He went through divorce. You know, it was probably a combination of everything. And then he got to a point where, okay, I did all these things in my life. There's nothing really left for me to do. What's the point? You know, it's another thing with success. I mean, when you're up at the very pinnacle, and then just like that, you're nobody. That's going to take. I mean, that's what happened to what do you call your young guy from Jonathan Brandis. He was a young guy. He was in Sequest DSV. He reached a high point very early in his life, and then he got to the point where no one he couldn't get a job at all acting, and he thought, well, what's the point? You know, so it's not just one factor that drives someone to take their lives. It's a whole lot of factors over the course of their lives.
It also depends on, you know, the social dynamics that are going on around you as well. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that people can point to. To be honest, I mean, if in Western culture, yeah, suicide is definitely frowned upon, right? However, I'm going to be perfectly frank. That is more of a recent viewpoint in comparison to when people would commit suicides, generals would commit suicides for failing their men and getting their men killed. In Asian cultures, all right, it was a well-known thing, all right, that you had to commit suicide to protect your family. Even in ancient Greece, you were ordered to drink hemlock, sentenced to drink hemlock, all right, to protect your family, or else your entire family was executed. All right. Are they taking a coward's way out? Is that a cowardly way of doing things? I don't think so. Okay. You can't just look at it from that one dynamic of being a coward.
You have a point. And am I being kind of blind to the periphery? Yeah, I am. And that's probably from my religious background and the way I was raised. Because, The most selfish thing you could do is think to yourself, I don't want to be here anymore, so fuck everybody else.
Well,
You know what I mean?
You're claiming your upground. I grew up in the fucking one of the most religious countries on this planet, surrounded by religious people. You know, it's you're clinging on to that because I don't think you want to accept other possibilities. You can't continue to say it's out of cardness when you know, when me and MC and Atema have given you hundreds of reasons why someone would do that.
That's true, but it's only a short time frame here in what we're talking about here, boys. So I think you can cut him a little slack.
You know, back in Germany in 1945, we could change your mind in a few
months. Zeke, how? I mean, what? Sorry. How dare you?
How dare you?
So anyway, but when you start talking about artistic talent and so forth, are these people tortured? Okay.
Okay, yes, crazy people can make some really cool shit. Okay, there's like a filter that breaks for some people that are unstable emotionally or mentally. However, that is not a hallmark of creativity. For if it was, we would never have creative people as a general thing in a society, which you see most Western societies have a rather creative populace. As in, they can tell a story or make it up on the fly and stuff.
Okay, let's look at it this way. I am able to talk. You know, it's something I'm able to do. I can persuade people to come to my point of view sometimes. Do you guys want to laugh at me and call me a fucking idiot? Yeah, you do. But then again, you're still listening, aren't you? That's a thing. Am I a fucking drunk? Yeah, I like to drink. Yeah, I am. When you look at somebody like Stephen King, when did he do his best work? He did his best work in the 80s and 90s, and he was 3 sheets to the fucking wind the whole goddamn time, dude.
Mostly writing about really weird sexual encounters. I don't know if that was really prolific work the way he wanted it to be.
Oh yeah, his most prolific work, Mod, his creativity. Have you actually read It? On the Chinese.
Actually, you know, that's funny because actually the last few nights, that's been my audiobook I've played as I go to bed is Stephen King's It. So yes.
So
I'm sorry, Matt, but if you're not reading the actual book, don't fucking start. This I'm listening to an audiobook. No, get the real fucking book.
I read the book when I was like 13, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't. Okay.
But that doesn't. I think what you're seeing, what your impressions about you know the tortured artist have more to do with a Western philosophy of art.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. That's not. You don't see the same kind of thing being happening in like Chinese artists or Japanese artists. You don't see or even Korean artists. Right, they don't go through the same thing. They're just as talented within their cultural mindset. I think it's more to do with the cultural mindset in how artists do things. All right, within the Western culture more so. But the idea that somehow drinking is a common thing with them, no, not really. You talked about some of the Western people like Mark Twain. I don't think Mark Twain. I think he was a teetotaler, wasn't he?
H.P. Lovecraft was.
And so the idea that these guys are tortured in a certain way, and that's what helps in their creativity. No, I just don't buy that. Does that mean that an expanded experience might give them an insight that they didn't have before, and that mind-altering substances, which alcohol is one of them, all right, can influence that or give them that experience? Yeah, that's a possibility. But of course, once you've had that experience, drinking it again and again and again, you're just having the same experience. It doesn't change anything.
I would go one step further, and this could be an unpopular opinion, but I would say if you need drink or drugs to actually be able to be creative, you're actually...
Dave puts out, China's too busy killing their artists.
Yeah.
No, it only kills the one that disagree with the supreme leader.
Well, no. Okay. What about somebody? What about somebody like Edgar Allan Poe?
Okay. What about him?
What about him?
Wasn't he the definition of the Western philosophy of the tortured artist?
Are you fucking serious? What? Edgar Allan Poe was a poet and a short story writer. He had nothing to do with philosophy. Philosophy of the time was Whitman, Thoreau. Oh, my brain just stopped. Fuck, I have a whole list of books. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's okay, Tim. That
Bacon,
happens like every 3 minutes.
Doyle. There were a bunch of philosophers, man. Poe was not a philosopher.
I didn't call Poe a philosopher. What I said was simple. Isn't he the definition of the tortured artist when it comes to Western philosophy? When we point out somebody who was a tortured artist, we point out Edgar Allan Poe first.
No,
we point out somebody that was very dark and was using writing as a medium to release the darkness in his own mind. Is how I look at Edgar Allan Poe. But that's not what made him a great artist.
No, if you're going to talk about insanity, it's Van Gogh. It's Van Gogh, hands down.
Van Gogh.
No, he wasn't insane. He would just, fell in love with one of your kind, Tama.
Yeah, and cut off his ear. And yeah, totally my kind. He should have fallen in love with his foot. It would have
that was the whole purpose of
I'm just saying, if you fall in love with a woman, bad things happen.
Well, if you fall in love with your cousin, bad things happen.
Only in
hey, tell that to Teddy Roosevelt.
He fell in love with his cousin.
So did Teddy Roosevelt.
Exactly, and it ended up really, really well for him, didn't it? Because they had so many children.
Oh my God, she was ugly too.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. It's not like she was particularly bright either.
Yeah, she might have been ugly, but I bet you she was flexible.
Yeah, no, I totally brain fart now. I lost it. Go ahead, guys.
No, Poe is not the poster child of the tortured artist of the Enlightenment. I've never thought of Poe as really particularly tortured. He seemed pretty happy hanging out all the time in the vaudeville district of his town.
Yeah, I think that Poe had his own problems. And then used writing as a cathartic methodology to sit up there and help himself. But aside from that, he was just doing things, letting his imagination run wild, the darkness imagination run wild, and then writing about it. And to be honest, some of the stuff is just it's amazing as far as reading. I mean, I love the Telltale Heart, but that doesn't mean that he was he was so tortured about this and everything. He was writing things in some ways, to be the first horror writer. All right. And the way we look at it today, the way we read it today, isn't the way they were reading it back then. And the reason I'm saying that is, if you want to talk about horror and what people were looked upon as horror, all you had to do is look at some of the daily lives of these people. Because life sucked back then.
Well, no, and also H.P. Lovecraft. The chat keeps going off about him. Yeah, he would be more of a horror writer than Edgar Allan Poe ever could dream to be.
H.P. Lovecraft is the godfather of what we consider horror. Personally, because he created the concept of psychological horror in my mind. But I think it's just personal preference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the thing, it still remains, you guys. It's still hanging in the air. When you look at a artist, you look at a singer, you look at a comedian, you look at an actor, they're all playing a part. And part of the way they put themselves out of their own bodies, so to say, has to do with illicit substances, doesn't it?
Not
No,
necessarily.
I know. I'm sorry, Maud. The majority of actors and actresses, singers, etc., are not, binged out, druggies. So that completely debunks your point. It might work for one or two, but since the majority aren't, your point is not valid.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move down the list. Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Jim Candy,
A bunch of rich people that had access to drugs. What a
All
And we're all friends.
comedians, not artists. Comedians, a specific type of art. A specific type of art that if you are not a naturally abrasive person, is not going to be able to pull off. You have to be an asshole to be good at comedy, which means the rest of your life sucks. Because being an asshole sucks.
Hey,
No, I would
speak for
disagree with
yourself.
that.
I actually enjoy being.
Nigga.
I enjoy being an asshole. Like this is one of the best parts about my life is me being a fucking prick.
No, I have to disagree with you there, Tama, because if you look at the comics from the 40s and 50s, they weren't like that, and comics today aren't like that. It was just that specific point in time that comics were like that. You might have a few still today, but it was really the 80s and probably late 70s, 80s, and early 90s that were like that. But there was times when they weren't. So I wouldn't say it's all assholes to be a comedian.
In American history, traditionally, even when comedians were traveling on, I shit you not, covered wagon, yes, we've had traveling comedians in America since the westward expansion, guys.
well, yeah, you had what you have what they call minstrels, minstrel shows, right? You had traveling shows that did exactly what Tim was saying. You had comedies, you had the
Yes, I know,
vaudeville
MC. I am from
the
the one of the countries that created history. We had them long before you did.
Yeah, but we've created our own too, boys. We have some of our own shit. You like slot machines? You're welcome. You like Velcro? You're welcome.
I'm sorry. Stop me.
Hey,
You're really going to take.
No. Hey, shut up. Shut up about
No.
Shut up about the slot machines. Velcro though came from the Martians. Stop giving us credit for the Martians' invention.
Oh, good Lord. Good
You got
Lord.
Velcro from the
I had
America
to.
has plenty of its own rich and genuine history that is just as valid and just as old as part of Irish and British history.
No, it isn't. We're millennia older than you lot.
Yes, and the IRA is such an old, before our time thing. It's not like you guys haven't had history happen after America was formed. I'm saying we have almost 300 years of American specific history.
Ooh, 300 years. Wow. My house is
300
almost
years
as old
is
as
longer than the Constitution of Ireland has been sitting.
I'm sorry, but when I live in a house that's, older than your country, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry for you too.
Yeah, because our Constitution is still older than yours.
Yes, and you got the idea from us. Haha.
No, we got it from France, not Ireland.
Yep. You got
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Bill of Rights was from France. The Constitution was from Great Britain.
Well, then you've just debunked yourself because you got it from France. So
No, the Bill of Rights was from France. The Constitution was from Great Britain.
I'm sorry, but you should never say that in public that you got it from France.
The Declaration of Independence, while ideas you can say came from little bits over here and little bits over there, was a completely unique document.
Yes.
And hasn't been, the likes of which hasn't been seen since.
Thank you, MC. America's awesome too.
I never said it wasn't awesome.
No, you said we don't have history. Shut up. We do too.
Oh no, I said you have
We
history.
make better
we have
bombs
history.
and shit even.
We
We've got
have-
almost a century of nuclear capability, man. Stop it. We have a
Well, the
full,
Brits did
real history.
help us with
Yeah,
the
that's
nuclear
nothing.
weapons.
That's not really something to boast about, Tama. You nearly took the world to the brink of nuclear
Okay,
war. So I wouldn't.
let's talk about something right now, since Dade wants to try and preach history to us. All right, hey Dade,
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry.
What
Who?
did the Magna Carta actually state? It didn't give freedom to friggin' anybody. It was a document that was created by the nobles to limit the power of the king to abuse them. And that's it. Nothing else.
It also said that we should all get free cookies on Saturday.
No. Only if you're cooking them.
All right. I don't think that. And Carl, actually, there is a stenciled, for lack of a better term, picture of the British Union Jack on the stand of the first American flag that was planted on the moon. Just so you know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, a British scientist that was working with NASA did it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm totally serious.
Wow. We had one mathematician. Here's our contribution.
Well, I mean,
one mathematician.
Well,
you guys paid for everything, but here's our mathematician.
he was just upset. There's no German one there, though.
Yeah, I wonder why.
all those scientists stayed on the ground.
Yeah, but MC, we don't need a German flag in the moon. We have got the Nazi moon base. So.
The Nazi penguin base. Yes.
Hey, don't bring up the penguins.
So how are penguins German?
We didn't call the penguins German. We talked.
Have you seen them march, Atama?
How does that make them German, considering it's goose stepping and that's Canadian? So.
And do you notice that when they raise their little useless wing, you know, it's quite. I'm just saying, there's a lot of similarities. And the MC rules them, so you know there's that as well.
What?
Yes, MC's in charge of the Nazi penguins. Did you not know that?
I don't know what you said there, kid, but it touched my heart. I don't know if MC. Were you a drill sergeant, MC?
No, I was never a drill.
Okay, I didn't think so. So why would you be trying to run a platoon? Do you really want to do that again?
Run a platoon?
Yeah. Tell people what to do? Do you really want to be running these?
Being a platoon sergeant sucks. Just to let you guys know.
Come on, Atema. Like, you honestly think MC would have a problem telling people what to do?
Oh, I have no problem telling people what to do. It's you're not allowed to reinforce it in methodologies that would be much more effective and efficient. However, they limit you.
Yeah, no, I can just see MC walking up and just smacking everybody in the back of the head. Fuck you! Come on, Susie, get the fuck up! How dare you fall off the goddamn obstacle pile?
No,
there are times when you have to get in somebody's face and read them the riot act because they're dumbasses.
No, I think MC would be more like, you know, they'd be all standing out, you know, on a drill, and he'd look at someone's uniform that has a slight crease in the collar, and you just pull out his 45 and blow their head off and turn to the others. Yeah, you will all have it nice polished boots tomorrow.
Actually, I hated the whole boot polishing thing. Polishing boots sucks, folks. Just to let you know, polishing boots sucks.
Yes.
I can spit shine boots, but let me tell you, doing it is a pain in the ass. It does look nice when you have a glass finish on it, but it still sucks.
Well, okay, so you guys don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of the tortured artist. Okay, well then why do a lot of our comedians end up dying in their 30s and early 40s?
Drugs.
Access to drugs is a good reason. It's probably the primary reason.
Yeah, I can
Humans
think we
have
can all
had
agree
access
that
to drugs since they
James
figured out to
Belushi
eat
never meant to
plants.
actually kill himself. You know, he done speedballs. That was an accident. You know.
Huh?
Well, look at why do many modern athletes die young, not live past their 50s or 60s?
Well, we all know that, you know, working out is bad for you, so like there's that.
You know, I mean.
Well, I mean,
The
okay.
average.
No, but wait a minute. You have people like Richard Pryor, who had a fucking crack pipe explode in his face, and he ran down the street like a goddamn human torch, and he's still alive. and then you have people like, well, he's not alive now, but he lived through that. You know what I mean? And then you have people like Belushi, who literally just die of a heart attack. Right? I mean, it's kind of unfair.
So
And he
basically,
was
what you're saying, Rod, is
overweight.
you just want the comedians you don't like to die.
Well, yeah, that's a good point too, nerd. Because if you go back in the past, all right, how long? I mean, there are medical problems that people have, but you got like Jerry Lewis. He's still alive. From the comedians from way back when. Rickles lived to the ripe old age of, what was it, 80, 88, 89?
Joan Rivers was almost 100 years old. George Burns was over 100 years old.
Yeah, George Burns was way over that. So,
Look, wasn't Benny Hill like 90 something?
No, I think he was in his 80s. Could have been 90s. Could be. You might be right, Tim. So, I mean, these to say that it has anything to do, I think it has more to do with the younger crowd being upset. Quite frankly, a lot of them being upset that they missed Woodstock and they wanted to get their drugs on.
Well, okay, what do you think the 90s was? Half of us, what was it, 26% of Gen X died of a drug overdose before they were 30?
Wasn't enough.
Let me guess, you've been happier with the number around 6 something.
Yeah, we gotta bump those numbers up, right? God damn, MC.
So I don't know. There's like half of Gen X almost gone now, or over half of Gen X gone at this point. So I don't see really why we're trying to accelerate any faster than we need to. It seems like Gen X is doing a good job killing itself on its own, yeah?
Pity it wasn't the fucking millennials.
Hey, I'm sorry.
You
Fucking Canadian?
I'm sorry.
Close to Tama, he's a libertarian.
Oh, yeah, man, I wanted to talk to you about that. You got some Kentucky libertarians to have a fucking conversation with, Nibba.
Oh, who'd I piss off now?
No, man. You got to go. These people are bragging about destroying the Republican Party and bringing in a bunch of fucking Democrats. In
where? Kentucky?
Yeah.
No, they only won the governorship. The rest of the state basically went hard Republican.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying the Libertarian Party is out there dancing and trouncing and talking about how powerful they are and trying to fucking chest bump and fluff up or chest, fluff their chest up to like the Republican Party. They're like, yeah, see what we could do to you? We're going to fucking wreck you, dude. We're going to let in this stupid, retarded Democrat. And it was like, it was on Twitter, too. It was like, dude, somebody needs to go cut the tip of that guy's dick off, dude. It was that bad.
Oh, why is that always the go-to move for women?
I don't know, because people always talk about me. Do you want to talk about me being dumb? Then, okay, I'm going to talk about your dick needing to be removed, right?
It's always a good way to shut men up, I'll give you honest.
Well, not really. She's just wanting to cut off the tip, which, I have to say, maybe she wants to convert us all to Judaism.
Everybody's income would increase drastically, yes.
MC needs to smoke more weed.
I second that.
I don't want MC to smoke weed.
No, I want MC to take cocaine. I want 100% more MC.
Everybody's trying to slip through into.
Oh my god! Could you imagine? No. I just want you to imagine MC on coke. Like those morning streams would be so fucking amazing.
I wouldn't have to be on double speed anymore.
Well, actually, those morning streams would go from MC just being quite loud to just one long.
Let's turn into Sam Kinison.
I can do Sam Kinison, but it hurts my throat nowadays. It takes practice to do it on any kind of consistent basis.
I hear you.
Smoke more weed, bro. You won't give a fuck about the kids on the lawn.
MC's out there.
I thought Dan was the one saying, "Get off my lawn," not MC.
No, it'd be awesome. MC's out there with the shotgun, right? He's like, "Get off my! I'm too stoned for this." Just gives up.
It would be like, well, cuz you done screwed up. Blam!
Yeah.
Dude, who's next?
Hey, man.
Think about what you're saying. You're saying, get me in an attitude, in a mellow mood where I just don't care. Do you think this is going to turn out well for anybody?
I was thinking it through and saying no, but I was just concerned you're going to get the giggles and die. Because you get the giggles now, and it's awesome. And I'm like, oh, God, his giggles are so funny. He's going to die if he gets stoned and does giggles. Because you're going to laugh at your own giggles.
I hate to tell you but MC is quite like the concert man from Maxwell. He'll never die.
I'm just wondering, is Giggles the stripper name?
No, it's Bubbles agent or co-agent. Duh.
Cobain deserves to die after ripping off Boston's melodies and not giving them credit. Ooh. Carl's starting a fight.
Oof.
We're back to music again. Kurt Cobain. I do believe that Kurt Cobain probably that there's some unanswered questions there that need to be.
Yeah, Courtney Love fucking killed his ass.
I don't know if she like pulled the trigger, but she certainly wasn't a very supportive wife and paying attention to her drug-addled husband and his irrational mind.
That's the least of it. I mean, I think she was part of the reason he was doing it. She was providing it.
Oh, absolutely. That was her thing. What do you think Doll Parts is about? That's her own little take on what it's like to be a slut in Hollywood because, well, she was a drug-dealing slut in Hollywood. What else do you do when you can't sing and all you can do is show your snatch to your fans? I mean...
Yeah. I'm talking about Courtney Love or Britney Spears.
Both.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Britney seems to be surviving much better.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Well, yeah, because she cut her hair off, right? Nobody gave a fuck after that.
Oh, wait, no, she's the one that did plastic surgery, so she looks like Mickey Rourke now. Mickey Rourke now.
No, that was Meg Ryan.
No, Meg Ryan looks like Chucky.
Unfortunately, there's a little too much truth to that.
Sorry.
There's a lot of people that are very upset because Meg Ryan's when Dennis was it Dennis Quaid? Was that her husband? Not Dennis Quaid. Who was Meg Ryan's husband?
Tom Hanks? No, I don't know. She married several people.
Yeah, but the one who died of cancer.
I don't know.
No, do I?
Oh, no, died of cancer. That's Patrick Swayze, right?
No, he was married to
Yeah, Dennis Quaid. Okay, that's who I thought it was. But a lot of people gave her a lot of grief, complaining that she was a whore, for lack of a better term, and that she basically cheated on him and did all these mean, evil things to him, and at the same time she was being treated as America's darling, kind of like America's view of what's her name, Diana, Princess Diana, right? In like the little wholesome girl that she supposedly was, and she wasn't. Well, that may be true, but Dennis Quaid wasn't necessarily a great guy either in that regard. And these things, this is the way Hollywood is. People look at things and they talk about Harvey Weinstein now. Well, okay, but Harvey Weinstein wasn't new. Everybody
he wasn't the only one doing it either.
Huh?
He wasn't the only one doing it either.
He's not. He's not the only one involved in it, right? And they all those Hollywood stars, they have a very small clique when it really comes down to it. They all know one another. They all hang out with one another. It's a very small community to a large extent that they exist within. All right, it's kind of like it's even a smaller community than the community that I deal with in my in real life and so forth, where there are people that I know from company to company to company, but because the field is so small, you run into these people again and again and again at different trade shows, right?
Yeah.
So for them, it's even a smaller community. So they all know who these reprobates are. They all know the illegal shit that that each other have done, and nobody seems to care. Well, unless it becomes really outed, and even then the defenders come up. Even then, the defenders will ride to the rescue.
No, you know what? Actually, real quick, sorry, nerd, but I gotta be the I gotta be the asshole here. If the woman is gonna open her legs on the casting couch, then why the fuck is it his issue? She's the one opening her legs on the casting couch.
Because he's telling her she can't get the job if she doesn't.
Yes, but if the woman has integrity, she'll say no.
I guess I don't need that job. I can find something else to do. The problem is okay, so you tell me how many people that pretend successfully for a living are going to be psychologically and emotionally stable when having to deal with reality?
Most of them.
No, you aren't. Somebody who likes to play and pretend and does that exceedingly well is going to have a difficult time sticking to reality because the play and the pretend is so much more fun.
Okay, but Tema, you're telling me that the woman on the casting couch saying, "Yeah, I don't care if you fuck me because I want this job," she doesn't have any responsibility in this situation?
Oh, no, she does. I'm talking about the ones that did care and still did it, or the ones that did care or didn't care, did it, and then pretend they care later. I'm not talking about the handful of scared farm girls that didn't realize what they were getting into and ended up committing fucking suicide at some point. Judy Garland, Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe. Oh, come on. Marilyn Monroe wasn't some little waif, innocent waif, all right, that didn't know.
Oh, no, she was a rampant drug addict. Oh, no, she was an easy target for them to find because she wanted to be a model. She was from Nowheresville, the Midwest.
Yeah, but her upbringing was all done to take advantage of that situation. She was looking to take advantage of that situation and did successfully for a number of years. Now,
really, I don't think Marilyn Monroe realized what she was getting into, and I think that's how she ended up dying. I don't think she killed herself either. Oh no, I think she inadvertently just took too much shit for too long.
Inadvertently, you're going to treat this bitch now.
She was like rural Nowheresville, though. Maybe she was. Maybe Marilyn Monroe. I've just read and watched the wrong stories because I just don't give a fuck. No, maybe I'm getting Judy Garland and Marilyn Monroe conflated in my brain too, because that's never happened before. Not fallible or anything. It could be I'm thinking of Judy Garland, who was chewed up and spit out by Hollywood. That was the kind of mindset that girl's brain was way too weak to ever get into Hollywood.
Yeah, but Tema, what about somebody like Betty White, who has conquered Hollywood and straight up given the middle finger, and she is beloved for it, right?
She's a comedian.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mom, but whoever wanted to stick their dick in Betty White?
Oh my God, did you see her in her 30s?
Right? That's what I was going to say. Like, look at her back in the day. She was hot.
Yeah, but there were certain. This is something that's different too. Back in the day, Hollywood was a lot different than it is today. Hollywood is a lot smaller when it really comes down to it today than it was back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Oh, absolutely. The creativity's been shut out. There's only certain types of creativity allowed in now. Yeah, absolutely. So,
from that regard, there were a group. There were quite frankly, there were the mobsters. There were the in Hollywood. There were the Polanskis, all right, and then there were the
Chaplins.
I wouldn't say chaplains. They were the ones that they would come in and then leave, and they come in and leave. They never stayed there. You know, they weren't part of that set necessarily.
You're talking about all the actors that rolled through and did a few shows and then left and never went back to Hollywood kind of thing? Or
well, they would come back in and do Hollywood every now and then, but they didn't stay in Hollywood. They didn't make they didn't go to all the parties or anything else. You know, you had the ones.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. I get it. I get what you're saying.
The kind of people like Walter Matthau and stuff
and Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart
was another one, yeah.
Yeah, he moved out to the country. Well, okay, where I used to live in the valley, and he ran a farm.
Right.
Like
they would get away from the internals, all right, rather than stay within that fast running, for lack of a better term, fast running set. So today, though, you can't do that. If you want to stay in Hollywood, you have to stay in Hollywood in order to be there. If you're not there, you're not found. All right? That's just the way it is.
Oh, well, I think you're actually wrong, and this is why. Nowadays, the current situation is clear, and it's becoming more and more clear to the Hollywood people. You don't need to be in Hollywood anymore. YouTube is a thing. We are creating our own content, and we are competing with the Leonardo DiCaprios of the world, with the fucking Tom Hanks of the world, and we're doing it on a minimal budget. That is a thing now, and they have to recognize that.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg also didn't just defend Bill Cosby. Whoopi Goldberg also stood up there and defended Roman Polanski.
Oh, I know that's what Carl's quoted, both of them. Polanski didn't rape that 13-year-old child.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot, and I really do. I grew up around these people. Okay, I grew up I went to school with Carol Ann from Poltergeist, guys. She was in my class. Okay, I grew up in Hollywood, in the bedroom community where these people had their kids and stuff. They went to regular public school in the 70s and 80s before everything went really, really nuts. And we all went to school together. She was there when she wasn't, and she was, or when she was she wasn't there when she was filming, and she was back with us when she was done, until she got sick and she never came back. The people that came to the school to take care of her were never her parents. There is something really bad about the way Hollywood treats actors, because her parents were never really around her, but I saw her agent. I knew her agent's name, and he was creepy, which is why I remembered his name. These people all pretend. They do professional pretending, and for some reason that makes them either malleable or lacking morality in some way. It's like their personality traits. It's not like they start out as these, like, simpering evil little people. It's just they're kind of like, yeah, whatever, as long as I get what I want. And
that's because of the Flash. They're taught that the Flash is their world, right? All that glitters is gold, and you got to go for the ring, and that's what they've been preaching to them.
Well, Harvey Weinstein did go for the ring many times.
Ooh, the wrong ring. Anyway.
Okay. Well, then here's a question, Tema. And I'll direct this directly at you. Okay. They are professional storytellers. They do make-believe for fun. What makes them any better than your fucking geek in the basement playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Nothing other than the fact that they are physically more attractive, and they all live together in a place where they get to tell each other how physically attractive they are with lots of money.
They get paid for it.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
The fact that they get paid for it, the more they pretend, the more they get paid.
Well, it also increases the options that they have. All right, whether you like it or not, money gives you access to explore your eccentricities. And when you're very young, you can bounce around, and there's a lot of things that you can get yourself wrapped into without even realizing how detrimental it'll be until much later in your life.
There's one of the fucking bloody Tom Cruise movies, the fucking spoiler. I can't remember the name of it now. But yeah, he was doing a promo for it, and he had to be in 5 different cities within a certain period of time. And they contracted this car company that they had to have certain different types of luxury cars, like performance vehicles, like for these things. And just all the bullshit that goes through, just so he can rock up for 30 seconds, just drive up in front of the cameras, jump out of this high-priced sports car, and then walk into a venue or something like that. Like. The amount of shit that goes through just to please him is fucking phenomenal.
I actually, I'm throwing this up on the screen because I actually want to dive into this comment. Aunt Jack says, geeks are not ugly. They just don't know how to make themselves presentable. And geeks are more honest as well. Yeah, I would go so far as, geeks don't know how to present themselves for the simple fact that they're too busy learning shit. You know what I mean? They're too busy dealing with fucking philosophy and history and science to give a fuck about combing their hair.
Well, they enjoy those things, and that makes them different because they're focused on that, because that's where a lot of their enjoyment stems.
Their passion is in it.
The problem is that when they go outside of that, okay, they don't have the same passion for the other aspects that the quote unquote normies would normally have.
I'd put it to you that they just feel that they don't need to impress anybody.
There is some of that, but then again, they're so damn arrogant. They think a lot of them think that they're above people anyway. Don't disabuse yourself that a lot of the geeks don't think of themselves as better.
Absolutely insufferable. I know more about this, so you need to just listen to me. And oh my God, you totally don't know all of this, that? How dare you? You're so fucking stupid. Yeah, geeks
geeks can be very insufferable. They really can.
Well, the worst ones are the Google geeks, the ones that just sit there fucking tapping away on their bloody phones, just waiting for you to say something, and then they'll tap away and they'll only read half the story. Actually, no. No, you're wrong. But that is what the Google says. Well, Google, how'd you bet you read it fucking properly, son? Oh, that's what the Google says. You wonder why you're going to get your head kicked in.
Well, okay, fair enough. But the fact remains, though, when it comes to geeks and nerds, they have actually been pushed to the forefront as of late, have they not? You've seen geek culture actually become popular culture.
No, it's not real geek culture. It's sanitized geek culture for nerds or for normies. This is not real geek culture that we're seeing. This is game journos pretending they're gamers. It's corporatized, manufactured geek culture. It's not real geek culture.
Expand upon that, if you may. What do you mean? Okay, so like, Trekkies, right? We were always the assholes that were made fun of. Like, oh, you're not even cool enough to be a Star Wars geek. You know what I mean? But now, everybody and their fucking dog is a goddamn Star Trek fan.
Okay. But, sorry. How cool is it to learn Klingon? Is it still acceptable? Or is it last I checked, it's still acceptable to wear my 7 of 9 costume.
Only because you have nice tits. Only because you have nice tits.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, nerd is going to be able to dress up as Captain Picard and go trotting down the street without people giving him shit. No, nerd culture, real geek culture is not embraced at all. This is absolutely 100% corporatized, sanitized. Because imagine a world of Wizards of the Coast is a perfect example. Exactly what is WotC doing with real geek culture right now? Diversity, feminism, and gender bending fucking established MTG pantheons. Like entire pantheons. They're just gonna fucking make it all transition, gendering, gay. with like 6 different races in everybody's face. It's all fucking retarded, and none of it is actually anything to do with geek culture. But they'll push it as geek culture, won't they?
I just had to tell Tama that, you know, there's only one thing you're wrong about, and that you think I would ever dress up as Captain fucking Picard.
Yeah, no,
your name is Nerd now, okay?
Well, no, he would dress up like Janeway because he's a faggot.
Well, yeah, he's also hotter. I would too.
This coming from the guy who has an unhealthy obsession with fucking Archer.
Hey, hey, just because I want to be the big spoon doesn't make me any less of a person.
Oh my god.
I had to. Come on, that was funny. Fuck off. Hey, at least I'm able to make fun of myself. You know what I mean? Come on. But no, alright. Here's the thing, though. When you look at geek culture itself, and the fact that it's been shoved into the limelight, you're right. They are trying to co-opt it. And you got the Brie Larsons of the world saying, oh my god, girl power, right?
Okay, Brie Larson is what, generation 4 of this? This started with the Needy and Snarkeesian.
Miss Prolapse asshole face.
You know, and Zoe Quinn, I'm going to harass boys till they kill themselves and then say it's their fault for killing themselves, Quinn.
Actually, you know what? That reminds me of that one case, right? Of the girl who told her boyfriend, why don't you just go kill yourself? Fuck you. Die. Do it, you salty little bitch. Whoa. Should she have been charged? I believe she should have. I believe that she might not have actually physically handed him the firearm, but she fucking did it. You know what I mean?
Well, that must be negligence.
I don't know. Like, you know, that's one of those. Where the fuck was his family? She was sick. I don't know. It's, you know, do we dance on the edge of freedom here and say, okay, it's fucking risky, and, you know, that bitch is going to have to live the rest of her life in fear, knowing that at some point somebody could just walk up and fucking drop a fucking 45 bullet in her fucking brain because she did something that fucking atrocious publicly? I don't know. You know, is that maybe the proper punishment rather than making her go to jail? Is her live in fear for the rest of her life that somebody's going to come and enact revenge for the horrible things she texted to a boy when she didn't care?
Tema, here's a simple question.
It's really hard to walk away from free speech like that. You know what I mean?
I know, and this is why I'm so torn with it myself, actually. But here's a simple question. If you write your husband, and he writes you and goes, I feel like putting a fucking 38 snub in my goddamn mouth. And you go, you know what? The 38 is in the drawer. The bullets are loaded. Do it. Doesn't that make you at least a fucking shitty person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there's no law against being a shitty person.
Well, it used to be criminal negligence. Like, if someone was standing on the side of the building and ready to jump, and you just go, do it, fuck, wait! And like, well, no, don't fucking say that.
But that doesn't change the fact that it's free speech in America. It's codified. As long as you don't say a building's on fire, or you need. Yeah,
no, I like that you brought up the building on fire. What makes it different from me going, you know, to my wife? Yeah, you are a shitty fucking person. You're a piece of shit, and you need to fucking off yourself. She's like, well, I'm tying the rope to the rafters right now. I'm like, good. Loop it around your neck nice and tight, bitch. What makes that different than me standing up in a crowded theater and yelling fire?
The needs of the many do not outweigh the needs of the few. Is that what you're going with here? It's all still freedom of speech. The problem is that if you enact your freedom of speech to cause panic or terror in a group of people, you cause harm to a large group of people. If you have somebody who says, I'm going to kill myself and these are the things I'm going to do, and you make statements of, sure, you could go ahead and do that. Here's the tools to do it. You are not telling them.
Sorry,
What?
I'm going to have to give props to Tama here for quoting Spock. Well done.
I was quoting Marx, but okay.
Well then,
That's-
screw you.
I think you'll find, though, the charge for that is creating a public disturbance or being a public mischief.
That's only if you're not where you are. Those laws are not federal here. Those are all like regionally based by county, not even by state for the most part. And it's all because we have free speech as part of the First Amendment. It's a way to. It's risky. It comes with freaking bad shit can happen. But do we take away our ability to speak freely to one another because bad shit can happen because some people are shitty? I don't see that being a good thing. It's not okay that somebody says, yeah, go kill yourself. No, that's not okay. But it's not illegal. There's nothing in the law that says you can't be a dick and say something shitty to somebody because we have freedom of speech. So when you come to somebody saying, yeah, all that stuff, but you know what the consequences that is? She has to live in a society where she said something and she abused her rights. She abused her freedoms and it cost somebody else their life. And now she has to live within the social construct of abusing freedoms that everybody else holds dear. And she has to deal with it socially. So I think there may be something else that the courts couldn't even mete out in this case that's far more effective. And that is the public condemnation of somebody taunting someone to death.
Okay. I actually tend to agree with you. I will fall on your side of this argument. I was trying to be devil's advocate here. Because I do think she is a shitty person. I do think what she did is wrong. But should it be a crime? The answer is no. I fall with you on this one.
It's a really hard line to walk because you have to be willing to accept the fact that people are going to die so you can say what you want to say. I think people have a hard time understanding the responsibility and the weight of having a codified, recognized freedom that nobody can take away from you, that you are even allowed to fight your government about. There's a hell of a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And I think we do a huge disservice to our nation when we don't teach our kids about it.
Well, no, and let's evaluate that point for a second. Okay. We have the freedom of speech. It is not given to us by our government. That is written down verbatim. It is given to us by our creator and or our humanity. The fact that we are human is the fact that we have the right to defend ourselves and the right to free speech. Now, that being said, if that right is given to us by our humanity and or our creator, therefore, what purpose does government really have?
Well, I would say you can't say it was given to you by a creator, because if you remember, anybody who spoke out about the church got put on fire. So, yeah, not by a creator, sir.
That's never happened in America.
Oh, so the Salem witch trials never happened.
That wasn't a protest for freedom of religion. That was a bunch of lazy girls
That
not
was
wanting
a
to admit
protest,
they
'cause
wouldn't do
witches-
their homework.
Witches are humans too. They should be allowed to be witches.
And that was determined. The Salem witch trials are part of the reason. Okay, so the Salem witch trials were the Puritans. Everybody in America tried to avoid the Puritans as much as possible during the colonial times. No shit. Nobody liked the Puritans. They wanted to trade with them, and that's all they wanted to do because they were insufferably religious. Insufferably. Everybody hated it. There is tons of letters and all kinds of information out there about how disliked Puritans were outside of New England.
Yes, that's why we chased them away from here and sent them to you.
And Norway. I know, like, nobody liked the Puritans, okay? It was still never about freedom of religion in that case, because they weren't saying you couldn't be a witch. They were looking for a witch that was supposedly cursing people and killing them and stuff like that. It wasn't like they were saying, oh, you're not allowed to practice a religion. There wasn't about a freedom of religion anything, and it was before America even happened.
Tema, Carl says Salem witch trials happened prior to the founding of America. Absolutely, it happened in the 1700s. America was founded.
Why do you think we have freedom of fucking religion as part of the first First Amendment of the Bill of Rights? Guaranteed freedom to practice your religion. Because Puritans are insufferable assholes. We call them progressives now, but they're still fucking Puritans.
All right, you can have Islam, then see how well that works for you.
Puritans are just another form of Puritans. Or Puritanism. Islam is just another form of Puritanism. It's all insufferable assholes.
Well, no, and you know, to be honest, as a father, I kind of like Islamic fundamentalism. You know,
Fuck you.
Not allowing my daughter to talk to any boy ever. I'm totally down with that.
21-year-old leave the fucking house, man. No, it doesn't. No, you don't want a 22-year-old living in your house that won't go outside. She's waiting for Prince Charming to walk up to the fucking door now, dude. It doesn't work.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know why Sheila's bitch about Islam so much, because, well, fucking women can get stoned in Islam.
So can you, Farty? Drinking is a stonable offense.
That's why I don't go to countries.
No, my daughter, Corona. Are you talking about me? I'm like, what? And she throws something at me.
Oh, wait till they get older. You're in trouble.
Yes,
No.
If Maud's daughter is still listening, your father does sleep. If you ever go into his room and he hasn't got the pillow over his face, remember to put the pillow over his face, because that's the way he sleeps.
Jesus. That was mean.
And you need to hold it there for a few minutes just to make sure it doesn't fall off.
Ew, 8-Jack, that's why you just marry your kids off to childhood friends? Ew. Ew. I think she may actually be taller than most of my childhood friends. That I don't know if that's going to work.
Hey, Bob, you're a good guy. I'm going to let you fuck my daughter.
Farty doesn't have kids.
Of course I don't.
Neither do I.
I could tell.
It's all right. Maud's making up for both of us.
No. Actually, Tim Pool had an interesting video released the last couple of days. I don't remember the date on it. Talking about how liberals aren't having kids.
Yeah, it's the first part of idiocracy. They just think that they're the smart ones.
No, it's oh, how can I bring a kid into this world? Yeah. It's just so scary and
Yeah. Yeah, and then when they finally figure out, oh, well, better have kids. Oh, shit, we're in our 40s and she's dry and I'm fucking firing blanks.
Yeah, I've been drinking heavily since I was 19 years old. And now I want to have children and I can't figure out why I can't. Okay. You've never done anything to help your body. You weren't doing anything along the time where you were young and it wouldn't affect you. And now you're in your 40s and want to have kids. And everybody wonders why we have this uptick in autism and all kinds of really crazy, wild, fucking weird mental disorders that we've never fucking seen before in kids.
Wait, no, real quick, Bear Dog. Women are terrible people, like horses. Why? Because they get ridden?
If horses are so terrible, why do we use them to determine how fast a car can go? To measure how fast cars go?
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering. Like, that was, frankly, a good question, I think.
The answer to that is Usain Bolt wasn't around at the time.
Oh, childhood friends of your kids. Their friends. Okay, I was like, okay, 8-Jack did not mean, like, marry your kids off to your childhood friends. Marry your kids off to their childhood friends. Got it.
Okay, so
That makes sense.
wait, no, actually it doesn't make sense. We're back to yeah. So my daughter is 5, your son is 8. When they're 20, they're gonna get married.
Okay,
That's what we're back to.
No, that's what I know you haven't lived in the Bible Belt in a minute then. Because I know you haven't been around like real church culture in a minute. Because you do any kind of church culture with like Sunday schools that you've been to for any amount of time, you do a homeschool co-op with any of that. Those people are marrying, they're coupling up kids before these kids are even old enough to realize what fucking couples are.
Yeah, dowries and arranged marriages still exist. Like my Lebanese mate, he wouldn't fucking believe me, even though like 5 of his sisters and his brother were fucked off to Lebanon to go and get married to someone over there so they can get a visa for out here. He's like, no, they won't do that. They won't do that. And then one day he comes up and he's, my parents are sending me to Lebanon. It's like, oh, what's the bet? You're going to come back married? Like, no. And he came back and he's like, they fucking tried to get me married. So I fucking told you.
Actually, you know what? Tema, check this out. My wife was watching this show the other day, right? 90 Day Fiance. 90 Day Fiance. Okay, these assholes are doing like Mary order fucking brides and husbands, and they're blatantly doing this shit fucking illegally. You know what I mean? Like, you have to actually be in love, right, to get a green card. These assholes are fucking playing the system. It's ridiculous. And I look at my wife and I go, why are you watching this bullshit? She's like, because I'd rather watch their drama because we don't have any drama. And I'm like, well, should I just like beat the shit out of you and call you Mary? I mean, what do you want?
Fuck me. I don't know. I don't get any joy in watching a lot of these reality shows that people watch. Like, that's really never been a genre that's appealed to me. I've always wanted my entertainment to be outside of relatable reality because I'm looking to actually escape.
Yeah,
You know?
I think the only thing that would make a reality TV shows better is introducing a masked shooter to each one. Yeah, I think that would definitely liven it up.
I just saw Bear Dog's comment come up and it said, I blame Melania Trump. Every cunt on 90 Day Fiance wants to be her. Well, then I guess they should be supermodels that write their own books and become millionaires before they come to America.
Ouch. Damn.
That's how Melania Trump got here. Like, she was a millionaire and a publicist and a supermodel before she came to America.
Yeah, damn, son.
Like, you better have a high bar. I don't know much about the broad. That's only just what I've heard on the news when they've been trying to defame her. But yeah, blame her because she's prettier than the rest of us, Bear Dog. That's fine. You can totally blame her.
Well, no, she is hot. Like, I would totally hit that. Like, hey, I'll risk divorce if I can hit it at least once.
I don't know.
Honestly, the only problem with that scenario, Mod, is that you think you would have a chance.
Yeah, fuck you, asshole. A man can hope, right? But no.
Yes, I'm sure when Ivanka is on what's that, LinkedIn or whatever the fancy website is for rich people who want to fuck. She's sliding across to the left. Oh, look. Man lives in own trailer, drunk, 35. Oh, yes, he sounds very desirable.
Hey, did you say drunk? Maybe I'm not drunk that minute. Right? Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, there's all sorts of fucked up with this sentence.
I'm sure Maud, with the right amount of rohypnol, she would love you all night.
Okay, that's funny.
Hey, does this rag smell like chloroform?
That's my joke.
I actually had a friend try to smell a rag when a friend of ours walked up with it in chemistry class like that.
Idiot mate and his Drago friends. Give me idiot mate and his Drago friend, or idiot brother and his Drago friend.
He's dead now. He's dead now, if that helps.
Yeah, they were working in this fucking panel beaters joint, and fucking they saw this big barrel of ammonia, and it said do not sniff. And his idiot mate Luke goes up and just takes a big fucking old whiff. He's walking around blind as fuck, shit. And the boss come down. He's going, did you sniff the ammonia? And he goes, yeah. How'd you know? He goes, because I done it too.
Ew.
See, that is everything wrong with Australia in a nutshell.
In a sentence.
I mean, seriously, like, hey, did you smell the mustard gas, yo? Yeah.
Yeah, because ammonia can kill you.
Yeah, the idiot thought he was going to get high off it. Yeah, you'll touch the sky, all right? See God.
Did you just say Zeke Hal?
He said, "See God."
Oh, I'm sorry. I went immediately to you know.
We are not looking for Kyle.
I went immediately to funny mustaches and weird hand movements.
And tiny ice cream men.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go and head over to an island, kind of like Napoleon. You know, exile. I'll be back.
You were too tall to be Napoleon, Mad. I thought you knew the French. What the fuck?
I know, right?
What the hell is going on? Is this opposite day?
That's actually a big misnomer about Napoleon. He wasn't, in fact, really, really short. They just kept saying it to taunt him.
He was average height for men at the time.
Well, yeah, like, average height is like 5'4". I don't want to live in that world.
Malnutrition was a thing.
Old Nosy wasn't all that much taller than him.
Who?
Fucking Wellington.
Who? Say that again?
Wellington, Old Nosy.
Wellington? Yes. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All I heard was ton. So I was all, huh?
Okay, so how tall was Winston Churchill? Like, he was, like, small, like a little bulldog, right? I just imagine him drinking whiskey all day. Rawr. That's it. Just rawr.
I thought he drank sherry. I thought he was a sherry person. Or was that just Julia Child?
Well, no, like, homeboy, no, seriously, Winston Churchill would wake up, right, and his maid walks in with his breakfast. She's like, here's some eggs, some bacon, and 3 fingers of whiskey. He's like, thank you, bitch. I don't want the eggs and bacon. Bring me more whiskey. Like, that's how homeboy rolled. He was fucking badass.
Well, he survived 2 world wars. I wouldn't expect him to be completely not kind of saucy.
Winston Churchill was 5'6".
Yes, as I keep saying, back during the Cold War, we were all fucking drunk back then. It's a wonder we didn't kill everybody.
Well, no,
not
like,
everybody
seriously,
was. Not everybody was.
No, didn't Winston Churchill, when he did his radio show, right, that wasn't really him, because he was so sauced, like, he couldn't even fucking talk.
That wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. Nerd would be the one to answer these questions.
He did do the fight him on the beaches one, but yeah, a lot of the times it was someone who sounded a lot like him.
George Patton was kept from getting his 5th star because he slapped somebody in the heat of war, slapped a subordinate to snap him out of his panic, and then he cussed at I think Eisenhower's wife or somebody's wife.
No, actually, you're totally right, Tema. I've heard that story, right? So he's on the front line, and this tank operator is wigging the fuck out, and he literally fucking backhands him, like, straight up pimp slap. Fucking pimp slap. Bam, bitch! Snap out of it, you fucking cunt. There's the Germans. Go kill them. You know what I mean? And he got fucking demerited for it. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... they also... The part of the reason that George Patton didn't do a lot of public speaking is because he had a squeaky voice.
Well, no, and I can understand. I don't really have a squeaky voice. I don't have a squeaky voice, but I don't like to edit my own videos. I don't like my own voice.
Oh my god.
I could totally get why Patton would be like, I don't want to hear myself talk. You know what I mean?
Oh no, he wasn't allowed to do public speaking because he had a squeaky voice. He just wasn't invited to do speeches.
But it's funny you bring that up because we will be touching on this in World War One, the difference in attitudes towards the treatment of soldiers and stuff like that. Like corporal punishment was a massive thing back in World War One. Punishable offences for, like, if you happen to get shot in the foot and they suspected that you did it just to get off the front lines, well, that's desertion. They'd shoot you for it. And then World War Two, it's a completely different thing.
Okay, I gotta go. I think World War III is breaking out in my living room. So I'll catch you guys in a little bit.
Take care.
All right, take it easy, Tama.
Oh my guys.
I don't know about her living room, but World War Three is definitely in my living room.
But no, the thing is though, you're right. When you look at fucking the history of warfare, you look at how we considered shell shock back in the day. It was pretty much pick yourself up, you fucking cunt. Was it not?
Yep. Yeah, it wasn't recognised in most places fully until like the 1980s. Like they agreed that shell shock did exist, but it was mainly a case of suck it the fuck up, princess, and just do your fucking job. Now it is like it's now called post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. This is what I don't get about all these fucking 12-year-olds getting on YouTube. I got PTSD. From fucking what? You stubbed your bloody toe this morning?
Actually, I was gonna bring that up. Okay, Farty, you have served. Now, doesn't it make you just a little bit mad when every cunt on the face of the planet claims to have PTSD?
Absolutely. I mean, like, yeah, that it does turn me into the arsehole that does say, yeah, why? What fucking happened? Come on, tell me. Because I guarantee you, your fucking story isn't as bad as mine.
Well, no, and I don't understand it myself. You know, I was kind of a piece of shit, right? Like, I sold drugs, and I did shit. I had to fucking stare down a gun. I've been shot at. The shit happened. I've had cops slam my face against a goddamn windshield. I don't claim to have PTSD, bitch. You stubbed your toe on Sunday, and it's Wednesday, and you have PTSD. Fuck the fuck right off.
Some cunt on Facebook said you had a fat bum. Oh, fucking where?
Right? Voice, are we wrong here?
Where'd you get that?
Okay, he's not unmuting. Farty.
He's having flashbacks.
Yeah, no, but Farty, seriously, right? I mean, you guys want to overdiagnose something to the point where it doesn't even matter anymore? You know what I mean? When you overdiagnose something, you make it so common that it's not really a thing at that point, right?
I mean, it's like bipolar. I mean, like, fucking people hear about bipolar and they just think that fucking that's an excuse to be a fuckwit every now and then. Like my last ex, Susan, she reckoned she had bipolar, and I said, "Have you ever been diagnosed? Has a doctor actually said to you you have bipolar?" And she said, "Well, no, but like I know I have because every now and then I carry on like this." No, that's just you being a fuckwit every now and then. Like, buddy. They keep saying that I got fucking bipolar, and I kept saying to the doctors, look, yeah, that's that fucking that affliction that's so fucking contagious. All you need to do is hear about it because every bastard's got it. No, I don't even want to be fucking diagnosed with it for the simple reason that it just basically discounts what I actually do have wrong with me. Because everybody's got it. Same thing with ADHD. Every cunt's got ADHD. Yeah, but like no. Didn't go to a proper clinic and have brain scans and all this. You just went to a doctor and he said, "Oh, you're a rambunctious little shit. Here, have some dexamphetamine. Shit, sit the fuck down and shut up." Like, I just totally discounts the people that do have it.
Well, no, and Pinoy News, $5. In World War One, they knew soldiers broke after too much war. That's why they made sure they replaced people, and they called soldiers the Walking Dead. Um, yeah, and the term shell shock came from World War One, and it was literally the blank look on their faces, and it really was. You could look at these pictures, right, and these guys look like the Walking Dead. Pinoid, you're absolutely correct. They're gone. There's just a blankness in their fucking stare.
See, they got it way fucking worse than anybody ever in history. I mean, like, you know, you got like the American Civil War. Okay, thousands of people died there, but you got like, you know, the Napoleonic Wars. Okay, thousands of people died there. They had cannons in both of those, but what they didn't have was being stuck in a trench for weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks on end. And as we mentioned in the last episode, just the lead up to the first Battle of the Somme was 7 straight days of an artillery barrage. And this was day and night, non-stop, 5 million shells exploding over your head. And like, you know, Vietnam veterans, you know, they a lot of the times they'll say, oh yeah, your best friend will be just standing there 1 minute, next thing you know, his head's exploded all over you. Okay, yeah, that's true, but the World War One guys, that was like fucking like the Accrington Pals, for example, 1,000 blokes from the same town, and all of them were wiped out in one foul swoop. And you got other units like that where you do have like, you know, oh, I'll just have a quick squeeze over the parapet, off goes his head. And that happened dozens upon dozens upon dozens of times. You saw fucking hundreds of your friends get killed like that if you did in fact survive many of these big battles. And it is the constant thing of is this one going to get me? Is this one going to get me? Is this one going to get me? Is this one? And you do that for an entire fucking week, and seeing your mates fucking kapow splattered and kablattered, and sometimes they don't. There's not even enough left to identify or even scrape up off the ground. You know, like they copped it way worse than anyone ever in history, and like no shit, that will fucking affect you.
Yeah, no, and I left a dead air there for a reason. Because that was the dead stare that those soldiers had on their face. I remember Cabby telling me, right, when I had decided, you know, after the Civil War series MC and I did, that we were gonna move on to World War One. That had a lot to do with Cabby. Cabby had told me, you know, my dad, or I think it was his granddad, was in World War One, and when he came home, he just sat in the chair with a blank look on his face. He wasn't there. He wasn't a real man anymore. He was just an empty shell. And that is something that needs to be talked about. You know what I mean?
Well, it also needs to be said too that like a lot of the problems that I'm actually facing personally, and I find this is very, very similar to a lot of veterans and stuff like that, especially if you deal with the civilian head shrinks and shit like that. Most people won't fucking talk about what happened because it is such a very, very different world that no matter what you can say, you really can't explain it. The smells, you can try your best, you just can't explain it. You can't get it through your head unless you're there. It's like, you know, you weren't there, man. It's like that actually rings true in quite a few cases, in most cases actually. And in a lot of cases, I've lost quite a few friends over what happened. And they're not there anymore, so you can't really go and talk to them in a lot of cases. The rest of everybody that I know are so far flung to the winds. Like, you know, they're from different countries, different parts of the country and all this. I rarely ever see any of them. So, yeah, there is this thing, and you do come back from that, and it is hard to adjust back into the real world, especially when, like, you know, there is something wrong with you, and you wouldn't mind a little bit of sympathy here and there, like just at least someone to fucking understand what happened and all this kind of stuff. But you come back and you see Jerry fucking Springer and they're fucking fighting between a midget and some fucking prostitute or something like that, and that's the big thing that's going on. And it's like, oh, this is just bullshit. Fucking worthless fucking crap. I was at a social function one night, and there's another bloke there. He just come back from Timor, and he got drunk and had a bit of an episode where he sort of came to the conclusion that people like him are off doing certain things and stuff like that, and here all these people are not giving a fuck and having a good time at a party and all this kind of stuff, and he felt that he wasn't getting the respect that he felt that he deserved, and sort of like take him outside and sort of just go, yeah, well, man, fucking these are the cunts, there's the reasons why we do it for, so they can fucking do things like this. It might suck, it might sound shit, but that's the reality of the game. Everyone's got a piece of it, and you're here. Get used to it.
Well, no, and the thing is also, somebody like me, who has never served, will never understand what you went through. I just won't. I can't grasp it. And if I try to, I'm being disingenuous at best. Right?
Well, it's not just my time in the military that's affecting me. I mean, like, like part of my head problems is part of blast effect from being in an explosion whilst I was in the fireys. But you do still see some things there. And back when I joined the RFS, you go off to an incident, and the debrief was basically we went back to one of the other blokes' houses and had a few beers afterwards. We didn't really even talk about what just happened or unpack it and fucking try and get over it or anything like that. And these are some like nasty fucking accidents and all this kind of stuff, and some of them have some pretty tragic stories to them. There's one high-speed police chase came straight past our station. They were on the wrong side of the road, went to go around an oncoming car. They bounced off the gutter, hit the median strip, car flipped over a few times, wrapped itself around a telegraph pole. And the two cunts in the car, like there's three in the car, one was trapped, pinned against this fucking telegraph pole, and the other two cunts jumped out, ran and left him to die. Well, that was a shitty thing for a start. And then there was another incident a couple of nights later where a friend of the kid who died was just going to the kid's family's place to be a friend and console them. He went down the wrong street, got set upon by a group of people, and a steel bar was shoved through the window and skewered this kid through the head. So how'd you feel if you were the family? You not just lost your son, but you lost your son's best mate in the space of a fucking week. And that was about the point where I just went, no, I'll treat every fucking incident just as its own little event and not fucking look into it any further than that. As soon as a casualty leaves me, that's as far as I give a fuck.
Yeah, no, and I really think when it comes to like civilians, looking at people who actually served and went through a combat situation, we really don't understand what they went through. Like my friend, he served in the Oregon National Guard. He served in Afghanistan twice, and Iraq twice. 4 tours. That was back in the Bush era. That was back when they were recycling the National Guard every other month. You know what I mean? Just setting them in. He still wakes up in the middle of the night screaming about a woman holding a child and shooting at him. He put her down. He walked in to the house. The woman was holding a 3-year-old baby and an AK-47. He laid her down. He didn't shoot the child. He shot the woman, but she was holding the kid, and he can't get over that. He relives it every fucking night. That is something I will never understand. You know what I mean? How could I?
Well, it's one thing to say, dude, it was either you or her, and better off her than you. that still doesn't stop you from remembering it and going through it over and over and over again. And that is most of the crux of the matter, the 1,000 yard stare, the flashbacks and the bad dreams and the lack of sleep, which does end up sending you insane. And yeah, the fact that you can't really describe it or talk to people and have them understand and, you know, get the proper sympathies and stuff like that. Like, that's all part and parcel of it. You know, you can say whatever you want, that still won't stop it from coming back and haunting you.
Yeah, and there's nothing, even, you know, that's my friend. I would love to be able to help him. But how could I? I can't. I don't think a mental health professional could help him. This is something he went through and he has to deal with himself, right?
Well, the only thing I can suggest is if he ever wants to talk, just shut up and listen. That's pretty much all you could do as a civilian. Like, don't pretend that you understand or anything like that, or just listen, let him talk, if he wants to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because there isn't any way I can understand because I've never gone through that situation. Now, if we're invaded and I'm one of the militia guys with a gun and here we go, maybe I'll understand. You know what I mean? But that hasn't happened. I don't get it. And I'm not the type of guy who can take orders very well. I'm just not. Which is why I never signed up.
So one other little thing that's starting to niggle me lately too is that the understanding that, well, they were a person, they had a future, they could have been, and here comes us and fucking, well, we ceased that from happening, and you know that person could have been that country's fucking next Albert Einstein or great actor or fucking, you know, someone that you'd want to read about in the future and all this kind of stuff. But no, they don't have the chance to do that now. And, you know, they had parents who, you know, fucking probably did care for them and all this kind of stuff and missed them when they were gone. And that's starting to get to me now. I'm sort of like, this is where I say I'm going a bit squeamish in my old age and shit like that, where I don't really like to be cruel or nasty or anything like that. I will if I have to, but fucking, I kind of like, what right do I have to be a fuckwit to this bloke? So that can come and bite you too.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, absolutely. And any last thoughts before we wrap it up? We're about to hit the 2 hour mark, so I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap her up and head back to Discord. If anybody wants to hang out, we'll be in Discord. I'll jump in to Beer Hall. So come hang out. Fucking bullshit. We'll have a good time. Any last thoughts, Farty?
Nah.
Alright, thank you very much. Good night, good luck. Don't go to France because it fucking smells. It really does. It smells bad. You just don't want to go there. I mean, seriously. Like, have you seen French people? Okay, I'm guessing you have, and you know what I'm saying. Alright, good night, good luck. We're out of here.
Booty.